Homestead-Maimi on Heat 3 for the Monster Energy Championship pre-race show.
And tonight we have number 4, the number 9, the number 88, and the number 42 all battling for a championship. Now keep in mind that we started out these playoffs with 8 drivers contending for it. We're down to 4. We have seen the 9 and 42 overcome some adversity in these playoffs. Who do you think tonight actually has the best shot of leaving this place as champion?
I'd have to say tonight the 24. Just based on the fact that he's already got 4 championships back to back to back. Tonight he's easily going to be the car to beat tonight to win the championship. So I think tonight for the 4 championship drivers, the one who actually wins, the one that is going to come down to winning the race.
Now keep in mind we've also seen some speed coming out of that 9 car ever since Jonathan when he was up there fighting for some wins. I mean, could that be a factor coming into tonight's race with him trying to get down to that 24 and beat him out for a championship?
It's possible. Like I said, this is NASCAR, where anything is literally possible. But and it's also going to come down to if he limits the rookie mistakes as well. That's going to be a key factor. He's got to limit those mistakes. If he keeps them limited, he may have a shot at that 24. But the 24 also has the veteran experience on it, and he's been there before, where the 9 car hasn't. So it'll be interesting if he gets up front.
But also, we cannot stress enough, that the first look in this race lane is going to be the 42 car. The 88 is probably going to be, the 88 will be a second-year veteran in his second championship start. This is the 5th consecutive championship start for the 24.
And he's won
the 9 is
the previous 4 too, I believe.
Yes, he has, and the 9 tonight is making his first championship start. So, what do you think is going to be going on in the head of the drivers of the 42 and 9 tonight as they make their first appearance in the championship 4?
Well, most likely they're going to be excited just because they've never been in this position before, especially that 9, because from what I understand, he's been battling in many leagues to get in this position before. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles the pressure and the nerves. His nerves has to be shot regardless, especially just from pure excitement and nervousness. That 42, we've seen him do pretty decent under pressure, and a lot of people kind of underrate him as a driver when he's actually pretty damn good. Hell, he gave that 48 a run, 24 a run. Well, that 4 at the time last week, a run for his money at Phoenix for a while, but the 4 still ended up winning in what could have been close for a while. Then the 88 also gave him a run for a while, which was even closer towards the late in the run.
Now, of course, going back to the 9 here for a moment, the one race that'll stick out in everybody's minds was the race recently that he ran really well at, which was Martinsville. When he got out in front of 24, it seemed like the 24, which was the 4 at the time, just could not chase him down, catch him, and do anything with him, and he ended up overdriving out of the corner and got himself loose. I mean, could we see another performance like that out of the 9?
It's possible. Like I said, the 9 definitely showed something that night. Just because that's the track that he's always struggled at. For him to perform that early on the track, he's not that good at. He's definitely got some motivation to try to get better and be a threat. But only time will tell tonight on that.
And also, you cannot eliminate the non-championship drivers. I mean, we saw the driver up to 12 try and fight to get into Homestead, and he came up just short, about 25 points short. he's going to play a factor in tonight's outcome. The 48, who came up short, is going to play a role in tonight's championship race. I mean, you know, by any means, is this championship going to be guaranteed? No, it's not, because I mean you've got those couple of non-championship drivers that are going to be playing a factor in tonight's race. I mean, what kind of factor do you see them playing in this race?
I could see possibly the 12 playing a win spoiler tonight, possibly. I think out of the two non-championship drivers, I think he'll have the best chance of winning it, which then would also make it to where the highest finish of the championship 4 wins the title, which it could come down to that, because this is the one race where the championship driver does not have to win the race. He just has to be the highest finisher out of the 4, which could also be interesting if it comes down to that.
Well, that's absolutely right. I mean, but it also could come down to winning a championship means you have to win this race. I mean, but you know, in these kind of races, in these kind of circumstances, I mean, you know, you never know what's going to play out in these kind of races. I mean, you know, when everything comes down to it for the championship, you know, I mean, you could find yourself having to win this race to win a championship. Now, as we saw last year, 24 did not win the race, but he won the championship because he finished highest amongst the championship 4. So I mean, that could be the scenario again this year tonight, or it may be coming down to you have to win this race to win the championship. So I think that at this point in this race, all 4 of the champions tonight are coming into this race with one mindset, and that is to win this race in order to win the championship. Yep. But I mean, you know, anything can happen in this race. I think that these drivers are really going to be focusing a lot on their fuel mileage tonight and on their pit strategy a lot tonight. Yeah. You see that one becoming a huge possibility.
Oh, definitely. But then again, a late caution could change that too. Because if late caution come out, you can pretty much guarantee they're all going to come in for tires. It's just going to depend if they're going to go 2 tires or 4 tires, and they're most likely going to get a little bit of gas just to make sure they can get all the way to the end. Like I said, that's another factor too, is tires, not just fuel. But yeah, I think it will definitely be a factor towards the end of the race.
And we're hearing a loud roar from the crowd in our background here as they uncover the Championship 4 paint schemes. We have the number 24 Rainbow Warrior Exalted tonight. We have the number 9 Mountain Dew Little Caesar Chevrolet. We have the number 42 McDonald's Chevrolet. We have the number 88 Exalta Chevrolet. I tell you, those are some beautiful cars. They all racing for a championship. Yeah, they're all Chevys, but those are some nice championship cars tonight.
I will say the personal favorite, and it's a good to see it back on the track, is that Rainbow Warrior the 24. It's nice seeing that particular scheme back on the track. It's been long overdue to see it back on.
Oh, definitely. I mean, William Byron tonight driving that car, throwing it back to a little Jeff Gordon. I mean, we've seen Jeff Gordon win some championships in that particular paint scheme. We've seen him have a lot of success in that particular paint scheme. So,
and here's the thing: if
he's looking to have the same success in it,
and if the driver of the 24 wins tonight by that as well, he also ties his league wins with Jeff Gordon at 93.
That is correct. He is going for his 93rd career win here in the Monster Energy Series. He's going for
his 5th straight
season win number 24. So, yeah, he's also going for his 5th straight championship. So I think that tonight, like all the stars put that 24 to get it done, to tie Jeff Gordon's win record at 93, to get 24 wins on the season in the number 24. I mean, that 24, everything is looking up for tonight, but. You know, we've got to look at those other factors in this race for him.
Yeah. Now let's talk about these rookies for a minute. We know the history between the 9. He had the, from what I understand, he was called Mr. Last Place for a long time.
Yes, he was. The first half of the season or so, he just could not figure out how to get the car to work, and like I said earlier on in the show, he finally started showing some real speed right around Darlington, and that's when he started really coming into his own. and he was actually running some pretty good results there for quite a while. He ended up finishing last place at Phoenix last week, but that was his first one to New Hampshire. So, I mean, you know, the 9 has really shown a lot of speed, you know, as of late, and, you know, for him being in his rookie year, and for him to be in this position, I mean, that shows a true testament to his testicular fortitude and, you know, what he's made of.
Yeah, like I said, I can definitely say that 9 has definitely had a long season. Just from whenever he was in last place, you could see that hashtag, everything is right with the world. That was definitely an interesting hashtag to see, and you always saw that or heard it being said whenever he was in last place, which was interesting. But I think that also personally, I think he may have got tired of hearing it for so much, and it finally said, "I got to do something about this, because that needs to stop." I don't know, but then again, it could have. So.
And then, of course, we have to look at the other rookie in this
42
field tonight. The driver of the number 42. He has not ran a complete season this year. Not the race. He got in here on points and points alone.
Yeah.
Do you see him being a big factor tonight in this event?
I could definitely see him being a factor. That 42 could definitely be a factor, especially after how he performed at Phoenix. He was definitely a good car that night. Not the best, but definitely a good one. He's got speed and stuff. I think people would just like to underestimate him just because he's the newbie, or probie, you could say. He's just basically the new guy out of the bunch.
And of course, it's already been determined as to who the rookie of the year is. Even though he was eliminated, the rookie of the year this year is the driver of the number 12. I mean, you know, he's been showing a lot of speed this year. You know, he hasn't had quite the results that he wanted, but I mean, you know, he's shown some speed this year in that car. I mean, and tonight he's obviously going to try and play spoiler as, you know, a rookie driver. You know, he only has the one win of the season, which came at the playoff race at Richmond.
But that was an upset win too, from what I remember.
I think that he's been pretty good. We're actually going to go ahead and get our third broadcaster in here, which will also be driving the number 88 tonight, but he is going to be joining us in here in just a moment. Number 88, Mr. Dylan West.
All right, let's get them on in here.
While we're waiting for him to get in here, I mean, you know, this is the biggest night of the season. I mean, other than, you know, the Daytona 500, this is the biggest race of the year. We're going to be crowning a chicken tonight after 9 long months.
And it's definitely been a long season, long season. And there's been some interesting rivalry fights and stuff since the start of the season. A lot of interest happened since the beginning. So. And
we have our third pre-race reporter now joining us. You can hear us. There he is. We have our third pre-race reporter now joining us. Well, welcome to the hotel, Mr. Dylan Wett.
I think he's trying to get everything situated.
We may be having some technical difficulties in the moment.
Sounds about right. This pre-race show is also brought to you by...
This pre-race show is being brought to you by McDonald's.
And Little Caesars. And Exalta.
Yes.
As well. And also brought to you by Chevy.
A lot of fans tonight are seeing something that they never thought that they would ever see, and that is we're going to have the same sponsor on 2 cars in the same race.
Yeah,
into this.
That's definitely interesting to have 2 sponsors on the same car, but then again, Hendrick is in the 2 cars are heavily sponsored by Exalta anyway. Especially that 88. That 88's been known to sponsor Exalta for the last couple years, especially before Bowman took the new driver of the 88 took over regardless. So yeah.
I think the fans were kind of expecting to see him driving the nationwide colors tonight.
Yeah.
Going with the colors on that number 88. Which the 24 is as well. But the 24 is, like we said, is going to throw back to a little Jeff Gordon with his paint scheme tonight, that beautiful rainbow.
Yep.
As we are still awaiting our report here, and still having some technical difficulties.
Yeah. They may be having some issue with the mic. So, what? Huh.
And the crowd is now roaring as the drivers are being introduced into this crowd. And as I understand it, they're according to speed on where they finished in the last round. That's basically the report I'm hearing.
Yeah, that would be about right, I would imagine.
Also, I'd like to touch on is that Ford has won the Manufacturer of the Year this year. They completely dominated Chevrolet and Toyota this year. And accepting that award will be the driver of the number 12 Ford Fusion tonight.
Ooh. All right.
Dylan, you got a copy.
Dylan.
He might be in the bathroom.
That's a possibility.
To hear that, but he might be on the shitter.
He might be. Okay. Yeah, well, he is having some technical difficulties, so he will be back shortly. So, out of all the drivers this year, who do you think has made the most improvement throughout this year, from the beginning to the start?
Yeah, the most improved driver this year has to go to the 9. I mean, you know, he started out half the season, you know, really just kind of doing mediocre runs, but not really showing the great. Didn't learn the cost, and you know, just popping out with some really good finishes, and I mean, he's definitely been the most improved driver this year as far as what I can. But you know, it all comes down to this one final race as to this is gonna determine, you know, all these 4 drivers' future in this series.
So, but I've heard rumors of that once he start finishing P2 a lot, that he earns a new nickname. What was that new nickname, by the way?
He became known as the P2 Peckerhead.
And how has he responded to that nickname?
He's taken it and owned it as his own. I mean, you know, every time somebody else is running a P2, he just does not like it, and he wants to get to that. And he's quiet until he gets in that spot. From my understanding, there's never any communication between him and his crew chief and spotter when he's back in traffic. But as soon as he gets in the P2, then he's communicating with them and trying to figure out what to do with it from there.
Huh? So it sounds like to me when he's trying to get up to a certain position, he'll stay a little bit more quiet than usual, huh?
Yes, because every time we have listened in on radio communication when he's in position number 2, he is very quiet and radio.
Huh. That is definitely interesting. Could he possibly use that tactic tonight if he's trying to get it up to first? Is that a possibility that we may hear? That he may kind of forget about the P2 Peckerhead nickname just for a night and actually try to be P1. So something else possible.
I mean, that's very possible. I mean, you know, I think that he's going to this race with the same mindset as the other 3 championship drivers, and that is that he has to get to the front. And he has to try and win this race. I mean, you know, that's pretty much the same mindset on all these championship drivers tonight. Is that they're all going to this race with one thing in mind, and that is to get to the front and to win this race. You know, because that's probably what it's going to come down to. You know, so I would imagine that that's his mindset. You know, where he's not really going to have much, you know, radio communication throughout this race. I mean, other than, you know, probably some pit strategy, but I think that's probably pretty much all you're going to hear out of him until he gets out front. And then it's the question of, if he gets out front, how long is he going to be there? You know, because we've seen him, you know, get out front and make laps, and something happens. Either he makes a mistake or somebody behind him makes a mistake, and it all goes away from him. So, you know, but he definitely has to have that mindset tonight of, you know, get to try and keep the communication limited and focused, and do what he has to do to try and win the championship.
All right.
I mean, that, you know, that's probably what's going to be on the mind of all 4 of these drivers tonight, guaranteed, is that, you know, they're all racing against each other. I mean, yeah, you know, we have 3 out of the 400 cars racing for a championship tonight. They are teammates from the same organization, but they are racing against each other for championships. So, you know, I think, you know, that they all have one thing in mind, and that is to walk out with this championship, even if it means beating a teammate.
Oh yeah, like I said, in championship 4, there's really no teammates, especially if there was a teammate that wasn't in the championship 4, I could say, yeah, that you got a teammate that could possibly help you. But tonight, 3 of the championship 4 drivers are actually Hendrick cars, so there will literally be no teammates tonight for those 3 at all. They'll just be right at it.
Well, keep in mind, they do have the 400 car in this race tonight, but he is not racing for a championship. So yeah, I mean, he could try and help his teammates, but I would think at the same time that he might want to try and play spoiler and try and you know try and go for the win himself if he can get it.
Yeah, because then if he helps one teammate, the other two teammates could possibly get a little bit ticked off at him, and then who knows what could happen afterwards when it reaches that boiling point, when they see another teammate helping the other one. So yeah, that's still the possibility too. So yeah.
Well, we got about 3 more minutes left on this broadcast before we get to racing. We will have some in-race reporters for you guys tonight. They will be the drivers of the number 24 and the number 9 tonight. They will be your in-race reporters. They will be, you know, interviewing stage winners, race winners, whatever, at the end of the night and throughout the night. So I think, you know, that's going to be an interesting twist on things. Direct drivers being in-race reporters. What are your thoughts on that deal?
It could definitely be interesting, especially since one of them is a rookie. That could definitely be interesting, and maybe try to get his little thoughts under caution as well when there's cautions other than just stage. Like I said, it could be a little bit of anything too, but yeah, I definitely think it'll be interesting.
The 4D Cup Boost 400 tonight is the 4D Cup 400 live from Homestead-Maimi Speedway, but they're only going to be running 200 miles out of the full 400. They have 134 laps tonight.
Yeah.
Your stages tonight will be 367, 134. You know, that's obviously predetermined by NASCAR. So that's what the things are going to be tonight for these guys. So yeah, you know, tune in, enjoy the race.
Now the other question is are they going to have that break they've been having tonight? Because that's also going to be effective if they don't have that, if they can actually adjust to that quickly. As I know in the past, they've also had that break after stage 2. They usually have a 15-20 minute break, but there's a rumor that they may not have it tonight. How could they handle that if that's the case?
Well, I mean, they're probably the way that they normally would, even without a break. You know, we'll just tune in and see what happens. I mean, you know, there may be a break, there may not be a break. We don't know yet. And then a lot of it, I think, is going to come down to, everybody's feeling towards the end of stage 2. I think it's race for a little bit, then they'll get one. If not, then they'll stay racing.
Yep.
But we are about 30 minutes away from qualifying your race time, so tune in, guys. That'll be about 8 p.m. Eastern. Tune in and enjoy the race, and we will definitely enjoy watching it from here in the Hollywood Hotel. See you guys in about 30 minutes. And
This concludes the pre-race show.